Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Squirtle Live Coaches Preview. My name is Michael Swisher, sitting alongside Lynn Shackelford of the Cashion Wildcats as we're going to take a look at the Class A 2017 football season. First of all, Coach, thank you for joining us.
You bet. Glad to be here.
How are things over in Cashion? I know this is kind of a bit of a transition year for you. The last 3 years, when we talk about the top teams in the class, it's been the Cashion Wildcats. And while your name's still up there, I know we lost a lot of players off of last year's team.
We did.
Including an okay quarterback who threw for a couple of yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah.
So are we gearing up over there for the 2017 season?
Yeah, we are. It's crazy how young we are and how inexperienced we are, and it's hard to wrap your mind around that sometimes when you're at practice.
Yeah.
We started Matt when he was a freshman at quarterback, but we started
Matt Harmon.
Yeah, we started Matt Harmon as a freshman, but we had, I think, 8 or 9 seniors with him.
Yeah.
This year we're breaking in a new quarterback with 8 or 9 freshmen and sophomores, so it can be a little taxing on your nerves at times.
Well, like I said, 2 years in a row you go to the Class A state championship game, 14 and 15 last year. Matt suffered an injury early in the year, derailed what possibly could have been a state record-setting season for passing yards and passing touchdowns. You did get him back, but you lost a district game, and that kind of hurt where you fell.
Yeah.
And so you lose out in the second round. But still, you're one of those teams that people were talking about, but you lost a lot of that team. You talk about this year's group. Who are some of the Cashion Wildcats that we can look for to make some plays?
We're young, but I think we have 4 kids that are some of the best in our class. Case Cochran is a 3-year returning starter for us. He actually played quarterback last year when Matt was hurt. And did a really good job for us, but we're going to move him. We've moved him back to kind of his natural position. He's going to play tight end, running back, fullback, wing back. He'll get a lot of different positions on Friday. Seth Brown is going to play wide receiver for us and corner. He started for 3 years. I think he's one of the top wideouts in our class for sure, and maybe one of the better ones in the state. Hunter Archer is going to play center and defensive line for us. And then Griffin Lamb is going to play quarterback for us, who is new to us. He started 2 years at Crossings, and he's with us now. So I look for those 4 guys to have a pretty good year for us.
Then when you look at your district, I know you've got the perennial power Morrison, who won the district last year. Then Crescent is a team I think that is kind of on its way up right now. You guys are in the discussion. Is there anybody else in, I believe, District A5?
I would say District A5 is probably pretty top-heavy with those 3 teams. There's a lot of tradition there and a lot of kids that have won a lot of games.
Yeah.
If I had to rank them, I would say Crescent's probably the one to beat right now. They have the most coming back. Those kids that have been there have started for them since they were freshmen. So I think they have. I would say they have a lot to prove this year.
Yeah, when this year's Crescent group was freshmen, I think there were 21 of their 32 were freshmen and sophomores on that team. Didn't win a game, got blown out quite a bit, but then they win 7 games. And then last year they get to the quarterfinals, upset Tallahena in the second round. And I know it's going to be an exciting war on 74 this year.
I have a feeling there'll be a lot of people from Crescent making the trip over to Cashion this year for that game.
Yeah, Crescent hasn't won that one, so I know they feel that maybe this is their year. Let's look at Class A as a whole. I think just the last 3 years, and I'm too old for my mind to go back any further, but I think the last 3 years, and with all due respect to Cashion, though, it's kind of been, once we've determined the state champion, it's been like, oh yeah, they were the best team. When you look, 3 years ago it was Thomas, 2 years ago Stratford, who you played in the finals. You played both of them in the finals, and then last year it was Hominy, who just once the season was over and they just kind of so big and so physical, so strong, just teams couldn't stop them. Is there one of those teams this year?
I don't think so. I think it's. I think there's 3 or 4 or 5 teams that have a legitimate chance to compete for a state title. I think Afton. I think if you look at Afton's scores after Week 10, you're going to look at them and think they're Hominy of last year, they're Stratford of 2 years ago. The problem with Afton is if everything shakes out the way most people think, they're going to go to Wynnewood in the quarterfinals.
Easy trip,
Right,
easy team,
trip the day after Thanksgiving. You know,
Yeah.
and I'd love to know how many games in the playoffs Wynnewood's lost at home. But so if they can survive that, you know, I think they got a good chance to go to the finals. I think whoever wins our district has a pretty good chance to have a pretty good path to the finals. Just the way the bracket shakes up. You know, last year it was really the top half of the bracket was extremely top heavy.
Yeah.
So, you know, the one thing about Class A is I think more than any other class every year you can look at 4 or 5 teams that have a legitimate chance to get to the finals. Now, I'm not saying that every year that's, you know, they have a chance to win it, but it makes for a really competitive season and a really, really competitive playoffs.
The AP poll came out, and I know Squirtle will have its rankings coming out soon. More of a comprehensive set of rankings there on Squirtle. That's what makes those so good. But the AP did come out with its Class A poll. They did put Wynnewood at number 1. Of course, Wynnewood, the runner-up last year, to Hominy. Tallahena, number 2, the team that Crescent beat in the second round on the road, I believe. Shut them out on the road, which really opened a lot of people's eyes to Crescent, a team that we knew around here in this part of the state was pretty good, but that really opened some eyes. Morrison coming in at number 3. Morrison's, you know, team that even if they don't have a lot of talent, they're not going to let you have the ball just because of their system, and Coach Bells does a fantastic job over there.
He does a great job.
They come in at number 3. Afton, the team you mentioned, at number 4. State champs, Hominy, number 5. You said before we went on the air, they lost quite a bit, so they got a lot to plug in there. But, of course, defending that title. Crescent, the team we mentioned, at number 6. Minko at 7. Rejoice Christian, number 8. Mangum 9, and they've got your Cashion Wildcats at number 10. Are there any surprises there in that top 10 to you as far as who the AP came up with, or somebody that we should look at that maybe isn't in there?
I don't know that somebody that's not in there necessarily. I know Barnsdall. I've heard. You know, I think last year they were really young, and they had a pretty good regular season. They're supposed to be pretty good. Rejoice Christian is a school that I think is kind of probably laying in the weeds
On its way up.
You know, they built a brand new high school. I think last year somebody donated $50 million to them. So if you've got a brand new high school in the middle of Owasso, you can probably attract some pretty good talent. So I think they're a team that if they don't make some noise this year, I think they will definitely in the near future.
Now let's look at some of the top players in the state, and you know, somebody that we look at just around here. You mentioned some of your guys, but Dylan Emery, the running back at Crescent, a big, strong physical, been playing a long time, and he's one of those who's kind of reaped the benefits of playing so young. But now he's one of those up there. But who are some of the other guys in Class A? Because I mean, I know there's a lot. We look at the smallest. This is the smallest 11-man class, but it's not short on talent.
No, it's not. I think the kid with the most talent in the class is probably the quarterback at Afton, Will Amos. I don't know if he has any Division I offers yet. I'll be surprised if he doesn't get some. If you're 6'4", and I think he's the state champ in the quarter mile and the 800, and was when he was at Grove and 4A too. So he's legit. He can go.
Yeah.
And if you put that talented of a kid in the Class A field, he's kind of tough to deal with. The running back at Morrison,
Riker Hughes.
Yeah. Is a really good football player, and Corey's going to give it to him.
He's going to get him
45 times a game. So he's going to have plenty of opportunities to make something happen. Tallahena's got some really talented kids. Their quarterback is really good. Sooner Box, I believe is his name. I'm not sure his 2 wide receivers' names, but
Dylan Blair and Kareem Bird.
I watched them on film. I watched them live play basketball last year against Coach Hardaway.
Yeah.
And they're definitely very, very athletic kids. So, you know, I think those guys, you know, just off the top of my head, are some guys in A that you probably keep an eye on.
And Dylan Blair and Kareem Bird combined for 1,700 receiving yards and 25 touchdowns last year.
That's not bad.
Nice to have in Class A. Those 2 things. And Tallahena's kind of one of those teams, you know, they're sitting down there always talented, and we were talking about this, you know, that second round is sometimes, you know,
it is.
There's some tough matchups in that second round. and some good teams really get tested. And Tallahana's had some tough second-round games. I
Yeah.
know you've had to go down
No,
there.
yeah,
and play before.
we've made some trips to Tallahena. That's never fun to do. You can't. There's no way to get there in under 4 hours. I don't care if you live in McAllister, but they're good. Coach Gravitt does a great job with them. They're always talented. They're well coached. They're always going to be a tough out for somebody in the playoffs.
Well, Coach, best of luck to your Wildcats this year. Like I said, I know this is kind of a bit of a different year for you. You actually got a coach now
Yeah,
for the first
we
time.
got to earn our money a little bit this year. Yeah.
yeah. You can't just send the kids out there on the field, got to coach them. But I know you guys will do a great job over there. You and Coach Wood and the rest of the crew always do a fantastic job. We appreciate you joining us here.
I appreciate you having me.
And we appreciate you guys watching us here on the Squirtle Live Coaches Preview.